J.C. Lucas is one of the counselors here at the Round Lake Treatment Center. J.C. brings a real strong spiritual component to the program. As a past client of the Round Lake Treatment Program, he offers a lot in terms of being able to listen to the clients, not only on a one-to-one, but also lead them through group discussions in the group counseling process. His spiritual content that he has and his own beliefs, which really centrals, real focuses on culture-based treatment. I think that is really important for the type of work that has to happen here at the Round Lake Treatment Center.
They call me JC here, but I usually go by the name John Christopher Lucas from the west coast of Vancouver Island. I went to school in a residential school, which kind of threw me for a loop and kind of confused me. So I was stuck with a grade 7. And I joined the Canadian Army with grade 7. And I spent 3 years in the Canadian Army, regular Army. And I was stationed in Edmonton, Victoria, and Germany for those 3 years. And after I got out, by the time I got out, I was full-blown alcoholic. Like I had to drink. I couldn't stop. From there, I went to drugs, any kind of drugs I could get. And my disease progressed down to where I was sleeping under newspapers down in Washington State and Seattle, and different towns in Seattle around Washington, and Canada, of course. So by the time I quit drinking when I was 35, I was pretty much a wreck. And I could barely walk, and I was just a shell by then. And I looked like I was about 60, 70 years old. And I felt like 90. But I managed to get here by 1980 and went through treatment here. And I used to have dreams and sort of visions about this place. There's pine trees in a lake and a sweat house. I never seen a sweat house before I came here. So when I came here, I knew it was the place I had been seeing in my dreams and my visions. And I could barely walk by the time I came. My ankle, foot was always breaking and everything. And I was in really bad physical health, and emotionally I was a wreck. Mentally I was just not there. And of course spiritually I was like dead. I had lost the will to live, and yet I was afraid to die when I came, And I had such a hopeless feeling by the time I got here. After having tried to quit drinking and drugs so many times, and I wanted to quit, but I couldn't. So sitting in that fast, I prayed to the Creator and the powers, the grandfathers and grandmothers, that I would never forget where I came from, and that I wouldn't drink one day at a time. And some days I relive the past so vividly, and all I have to do is look at it. And I'm really thankful that the Creator answered my prayers there in the sweat house. But someone must have really prayed for me while I was sleeping under newspapers, and cardboard, and shivering, broken, hungry, sick. Because I certainly didn't do it. I didn't have the will. I tried many times to quit, but I couldn't. But here I got a glimpse of my own individual uniqueness and potential through the treatment here in 1980. And I began to realize that there's more to life than just my physical body and the material world. I found out about praying and fasting again. And I have always been extremely grateful to this place and the staff here, and to the board and the people that helped me get here. My job here is to help people realize their potential and to feel good about themselves and think well of themselves and to start getting out their goodness, as human beings. And the counseling sessions are right in this room here, and we use the circle. There's a tremendous amount of power in the circle here. And also one-to-one counseling. And occasionally I have a pipe ceremony here. I also do the sweat ceremonies in the sweat house, sweat lodge. And so I try to get the clients to make their own choices and work on the things they want to work on and help them with other things that we see that are obvious. And to help them feel good about themselves and think well of themselves and get their bodies well and look at their spiritual side so that they can function as whole human beings and not just be a servant to the demands of society or the demands of the body. This lecture is aimed at opening people's minds so that they can receive further throughout their treatment the things that will help them. And the hurts about race, religion, and sex are some of the major issues when it comes to treatment. And to help and try and balance the individual by getting to the identity, the real person that's there, not what we think we should be, but what we actually are. And to help in the process of healing, but a place to get a little bit of direction and clear the thoughts and open the mind so that you can function as a human being, a whole human being. And to get your identity and not have people identifying you for you, but identifying yourself and saying, this is what I am, this is who I am, and this is where I come from. These kind of things, so that they don't have to rely on drugs and alcohol. Every time they get scared, every time they get anxious, or every time they get lonely, or every time they get sad, they don't have to pick up something that's destroying a whole race of people. Culture is treatment in the sense that we use the natural power of the circle, and we use the natural medicines in the sweat house, and we get people to identify themselves. Culture is such a broad-based word that I suppose there'll be as many interpretations as there are people. But basically what I think of when I think of culture is a way of life that's making you a better human being. People's cultures vary so much. We come here with people from the West Coast, up north, and even some from down south, and some from the prairies and the East Coast. So we use a very general way here where it concerns culture, and we all use pretty well the same way. So that the main thing is that people are getting to know themselves, and we encourage people to look into their culture, the positive side of their culture, and not the egotistical side of it, or the negative side. So my culture today, myself, includes all the modern things in society. Everything from the modern restaurants and videos and you name it. I have a truck, that's a nice truck. And all those things, that's my culture. But in the morning, I pray with water. I give thanks for the water. I give thanks for the air. I give thanks for the earth. And I give thanks for the fire. And these are what I am made of. This is me. And these is the 4 races, symbolic races of mankind. And showing gratitude. Being aware that these things all come from our Mother Earth. Everything we wear, everything we eat, everything that shelters us, everything we use comes from the Mother Earth.